Hey everyone. So, some great news. They announced the roadmaps for the upcoming year in both classic and retail. Honestly, I'm really excited. So, we're going to kind of look into that first, and then we'll try to hit 23 on the priest today. So, let me see if I can get this going. It has been a bit perfect. All right. So, um, we are gonna start with the the I guess the retail one. So let's make this a bit bigger. Yeah. Boom. All right. Let's move me just a bit. Yeah, there we go. Boom. We're gonna move me into this corner for now. So, looks like this, I guess this now, winter, right? Well, I guess winter doesn't actually start for a couple days. Anyways, so we have Dragon Isles epilogues, Gilneas. That seems like it's gonna be fun. Some dragon riding, a lot of fun stuff here. Follower dungeons. Let's get to like more of the big stuff, right? So it looks like we have War Within Alpha starting in spring. The beta late spring, start of summer, which weirdly aligns with the pre-patch here. So that's kind of interesting. It seems like the beta is going to be fairly quick because the War Within launch is going to be between summer and autumn. So basically between, I think summer starts in June, right? 21st? That sounds right to me. So between the end of June to, let's see, fall starts September. So looks like between June and maybe September, we'll have the game actually launch, which is crazy. Yeah, it's gonna have to because the anniversary is what, in November, right? But yeah, no, that's just crazy to think about that they're going to be able to get it out that quickly because I don't know about you guys, but I think we all thought it was going to come out in like December, late November, start of December. Probably use that like 3-day head start or whatever I think the Ultimate Edition has, or whatever they call it now, to kind of like put it in starting in like the end of November, start of December. So it's crazy to me to think that it literally could be as like, it could just be so early, like literally like 2-3 months ahead of that, and that like that's really cool. I'm really excited for that. I am a bit concerned that it's gonna come so quickly. Like, are things gonna be polished enough? Are they gonna be good? I guess just because based off past expansions where they've cut content and whatnot, like Warlords of Draenor, for example, or it just being rushed and kind of shitty like Shadowlands. But this is exciting. And then we have the classic roadmap, which they've already announced. Ruby Sanctum is going to be in January. So I guess I guess since it's 2024, this is all going to be January, at least. Anyways, but Ruby Sanctum, I don't give a shit, personally. But that does kind of align with Cataclysm releasing. Jumped ahead of there. Anyways, but yeah, and then we have Season of Discovery. So I guess based off this, we have through December at least, which, I mean, it's almost over, so to enjoy being 25. So, and it looks like Season of Discovery, based off this timeline, is going to be more of a late winter So maybe we might have January as 25, and then come maybe February, we're going to hit 40. That seems pretty nice. So if we go off that, we basically have all of December and all of January potentially. So like 2 months in between phases, which would kind of align with this to a degree. Because if we get it in February, 2 months later, we're looking at April spring. So that kind of aligns correctly, and it's kind of in the middle. Which means some really good shit, honestly. I'm quite excited to see what they do there. And then, of course, solo self-found in between that. So it looks like maybe we have a month of this, and then they release self-found, and then a month later, 50. And then maybe about a month later, we get the pre-patch. And then it seems like a month after that, we go straight into Cataclysm, which makes sense. Pre-patches being about 4 weeks. Start of summer. That honestly was kind of surprising. So that would be like June-ish. Which that was my hopeful like start, like if things align perfectly, somehow it would release in summer, and it looks like that's going to be the case. I was honestly expecting this to be more, which I mean, August is still summer, but based off this timeline, it looks like it's going to be early August, or not early August, early summer, and August is the end of summer, right? So this surprises me, because I figured either late August, early September would be the release for this. So it's really early. I'm hoping like they'll have everything ironed out, which I mean, I can't imagine being too difficult considering it's a re-release. And then quickly after that, it looks like we get 60, and then some raids, and we finally hit the end game content of level 60 for Season of Discovery, which is really fucking cool. I'm really excited for a lot of this. I'm not going to do hardcore self-found mode, probably. Just not a fan of hardcore in general. And then in terms of Classic Wrath, it looks like if we preface this as the pre-patch is the end of spring, then we have till at the latest, right? June 20th, I think is the right date, because I think the 21st is where it kicks over to summer. So we have, based off that, we have about 6 more months of Lich King. So I feel like that's a good amount of time to get people to go into raids, even people that are starting late to get into that. And then, we go into Cataclysm at the start of summer, basically, which is really cool. Now my concern here is like the timeline with everything, though. Like, I am excited with all the content that they're going to be bringing out. I'm just concerned about overlap, and I haven't really seen anybody mention this. Granted, I haven't looked too hard. I've just been seeing posts from Wowhead and some other content creators, like talking about it and how excited they are. But to me, I see a lot of overlap of content, which kind of seems like a detractor. And I saw this with the release of Wrath Classic and Dragonflight. If I remember correctly, Wrath Classic came out in November, and Dragonflight came out like a month later. Roughly, they were basically spread out by a month, which to me isn't really a lot of time to enjoy the initial phase of Wrath Classic, because a lot of people came back for Wrath Classic, and or were just waiting for it in general, like started fresh Wrath Classic. So some of those people, really like what I would say, like the sweaty people, which nothing wrong with that, would have plenty of time. Like a month for them is nothing. They were max level. They did all the raiding. Like first week it came out. So to them, 3 weeks later, they're probably bored out of their minds because they've been raiding for 4 weeks already or something, right? And then, like, if they wanted to, they could just hop on over to Dragonflight and get prepped. I think they had about a month there before raids opened and whatnot. But for like more normal people, more casuals, a month between Lich King launch and Dragonflight release isn't really a lot of time for people to soak in Wrath content. Granted, I guess this is really only an issue if you play both versions of the game, right? If you play a bit of retail and a bit of classic, then it's kind of oh God, I'm not going to have a lot of time to like enjoy Wrath before Dragonflight comes out, and then I'm going to want to transition to Dragonflight or somehow balance both of them, right? So I feel like that was kind of a mistake on Blizzard's part because, one, you kind of are shoving a lot of stuff down people's throats, and they have to somehow manage their time and whatnot to try to play both if they want to. And then I think of it from like a business perspective where, your quarter four is going to look great. Like, people are going to be excited. You're going to see a lot of money, right? But because you rushed all that content out within the span of like a month, how's that going to look at the end of the first quarter when people might be done, right? Because you didn't spread it out, or there's a content drought and people are kind of just like, what the fuck am I going to do, right? I've done what I want to do. I'm just waiting now. So I feel like ideally what they should have done is delay one of them by maybe like 3 months. Nothing more than that, that's for sure. Maybe 2 to 3 months. That way people could like enjoy and kind of get into it a bit more. So like if they would have just released Wrath in November and, released Dragonflight, say sometime January, February at the latest, then people would have gotten like everybody, like the casual gamers, the really sweaty people, they would have had a couple of months to like get in, enjoy Wrath. Most people probably would have gotten into raiding or at least done a lot of stuff that they wanted and were waiting for phase 2 of Wrath. And then that's when you drop in Dragonflight, and then you have all the people that are playing retail, that might have been playing Wrath to kill time, jump into Dragonflight, and those people on Wrath that either came back to play Wrath or are just classic players from, TBC and vanilla, they might be like, hey, I've done what I wanted to in Wrath. I leveled up an alt maybe. Dragonflight looks really cool. Let me go and give that a shot. And then all of a sudden, there's not too much of a content drought for Wrath Classic because you have Dragonflight to get into. And then so say you play Dragonflight for a month or two, right? You kind of get into it, get to max level, enjoy some raiding or whatever content you prefer. And then maybe you're getting a bit bored, In those couple of months there, phase 2 has come around for Wrath Classic. You get back into Wrath Classic, do some Old War or whatever it was in phase 2. I don't remember. I wasn't playing at the time. And then, the cycle kind of continues. You do what you do, you do phase 2, content kind of drips out. Oh, hey, Dragonflight has released more stuff. Let's go back. And then you kind of bounce back and forth because there's like a couple of months in between each game's content cycle, which I think would provide more longevity towards just their content as a whole, because you won't have people dropping off, I would assume, nearly as much and paying to play the game. Not only would you have people paying to play the game, but, they always like to come out with mounts and other crap, right? So if you're playing the game, I feel like you're more inclined to buy that new mount or that new pet or purchase a service, buy a WoW token because you're playing. But if, like, the way they did it, right? So say, you rush through Wrath content, Dragonflight dropped basically immediately, right? All of a sudden, say you've gone back and forth between both of the games, and you have nothing to do. And it's just like, well, what am I going to do now? There's no more content I want to do in Wrath. I've done everything I want to do in Dragonflight. I'm just waiting now. You unsubscribe and you go play another game. Say you're on Twitter or you're getting some news somewhere, right? And they're like, oh, they released a new mount, a new pet. That's cool. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to buy it because I'm not playing the game. So I feel like they lose out on money that way too. So it's kind of like weird in my brains. Like they wanted a nice, good quarter, end of the year quarter, but they could have still had a nice end of the year quarter by spreading out their content and their game releases, and had a more steady quarter, a steady quarter one and quarter two and stuff, because there's not going to be like this massive dropout of subscriptions and whatnot at the end. So yeah, I know that was all really long and lengthy, but I guess my point is that I feel like they're kind of doing the same thing again, because I at least fall into the category of I want to play the next retail expansion. I need to get back into the current retail expansion and at least complete it. And I have roughly 6-7 months to do that before the new one hits. So I have plenty of time. But I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I'm going to dip into 10.2.5 because I want to do the Gilneas stuff. I don't really give a shit about Season 4 here. Darkheart, I don't know yet. The pre-patch for sure interests me. So I know I'm going to come back in winter, and I'm gonna do some stuff in summer and then through autumn here. So they got me there, which is cool. And then I look over here and I look at winter, and I'm like, okay, so I want to do the Gilneas stuff, like the stuff that they have here for winter. It's gonna take me a couple weeks, maybe. And then I'm just gonna dip back in to do the rune stuff, maybe do some Lich King. So that's great. So I feel like that's all pretty okay. But what I think becomes an issue is when you have the War Within pre-patch followed by like the expansion release. And I look at this and I'm like, okay, so they're dropping the pre-patch at the start of summer. Start of summer, they're also releasing Cataclysm Classic. And before that, in spring, they're doing the Cataclysm pre-patch. And then you're also doing the Season of Discovery. And Season of Discovery has been really popular. So I look at this, and it's like, okay, so you have Season of Discovery. You have maybe about a month before the Cataclysm pre-patch. Okay, and then you have a month, obviously, before Cataclysm releases. But you look at this, it's like, oh, you have the War Within pre-patch coming out in summer. So it's like, once again, they're kind of cannibalizing on like their interest in their subscription numbers instead of spreading it out. Because it falls into the same issue that that Lich King and Dragonflight had, where they're roughly about a month or so apart. But this time it's a bit more compounded because you have Season of Discovery, which is becoming incredibly popular. You have Season of Discovery level 50, and then the Cataclysm stuff. And then you have the War Within stuff. But then you also have the level 60 Season of Discovery stuff, followed by Cataclysm raids, followed by more story stuff, followed by endgame season of content, endgame content for Season of Discovery. Here, I'm going to move myself up here. So, like, it's great from a player perspective because you're getting all this content, but you're having, like, no time to, like, digest it. Like, you're having no time to spend on it. You're like, okay, I have a month here, and then it's like, oh, I have this. Like, you're just juggling so much as a player. If you play these, and I'm personally planning on continuing Season of Discovery, playing Cataclysm, and also doing the War Within. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, I'm not really going to have a lot of time to seriously sit down and like dive into something, at least as a casual player. Like, I'm going to be like, okay, I have to try to get everything I want to do done in a month here for, like, spring, for Season of Discovery, which getting the 10 levels from 40 to 50, is going to be all right, right? But then if you want to do any of the raids and stuff, I don't think a month is really going to be that long to hit 50 and do some of the new raids, find the new runes, do God knows what kind of rep grinds and stuff before the Cataclysm pre-patch launches, where you're going to maybe want to level up that Worgen, that Goblin and stuff, and you got 80 levels to do that. That's going to take you some time, right? That might take you a month, you know, and even then, that's a lot of like a lot of work to do that, right? So it's just kind of like it's just like I feel like they should be spacing it out a bit more to like really just give players a chance to breathe, and also to help with like their subscription numbers and just like financial stuff, which, you know, pays for all this stuff. Because if they slow down the content release, you give your players just a breather. You don't want a content drought, but give them a breather of like a month, like 2 to 3 months, right? Just kind of shift things 2 to 3 months down the road. Like, you don't have to do a lot. Like, keep Cataclysm in the summer. That seems fine. There's going to be some overlap between Season of Discovery and Cataclysm. It is what it is. You know, based off their release cycle and the projected dates they've already given, they've kind of cornered themselves here. But, you know, Season of Discovery and Cataclysm will continue to overlap. Maybe you'll have about a month and a half, maybe 2-month break in between. You're really not going to be able to get it too much more spread out than that, because then you have the War Within, right? Which you could kind of push that. You could push the pre-patch to like late autumn, and you can release the War Within during the winter. So basically roughly the end of December, like 21st, whatever, right? Middle of December. That would give people plenty of time to enjoy Cataclysm and Season of Discovery more, and also give people a thing to do, right? Because, you know, you already have, at this rate, by the end of this year, they're going to have level 60 max content for vanilla, or not for vanilla, but for Season of Discovery, and people are going to be doing Cataclysm raids and stuff too. So like that's a lot to juggle, and then you throw in this expansion here. So I actually kind of worked out a rough kind of way to do it. So unfortunately, I don't think I can get paint to work on this. So we are going to go to a dock here. Just a blanket dock here. So this is kind of what I was thinking. Like, would it be a good way to spread it out? Oh, and then we have the 20th anniversary, of course. But anyways, let's move myself back here. Let's make this a bit bigger. So this is kind of what I was thinking. Like, would be a better way to give the players some like a breather room. And not only does it give the players breathing room, gives the developers breathing room, right? They can focus more on the content they're developing. They're not going to be crunching as hard. There's still going to be a steady flow of players purchasing mounts, pets, boost, WoW tokens, services, all the stuff they try to cram down your throat, you know, which makes the money people happy. They continue to get their bonuses and big profits. And, you know, I feel like it's a win for everyone, right? It's a win for the players, it's a win for the developers, it's a win for the company. So what you do is, and then I'm going to kind of go back and forth. I did have, hold on, let me see. I think I had a better way of doing this. So like I had a before and after. Let me see if I can do this properly. Okay, hold on. I made a tweet about this. Let me go grab my tweet, since I don't have it on my notepad here. Okay. Yeah, it's one of these guys. Let me dig into it a bit more. Here we go. So this was the before. One sec, I just realized I didn't have my chat up. Because Stream Elements is killing me here. Alright. Cool, so this is the before. And then this is going to be the after. So before they basically have 3 different versions of the game cannibalizing their player base. So with the way it's going in spring, we're basically going to have Self-Found, Season of Discovery level 50, and the Cata pre-patch, right? That's a lot of stuff to do and try to fit in. Wait, did I copy the wrong thing? I might have copied... I did copy the wrong thing. Okay, my apologies here. Let me fix this. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I copied 2 of the same things. I'm like, that doesn't look like it's adding up. All right. So this is wrong. Here we go. So yeah. So before we have Hardcore, Self-Found, Season of Discovery, and Cata pre-patch. A lot of shit to juggle. They could change it to just be Self-Found, Season of Discovery level 50. I feel like there's their own set of people that really like Hardcore, and there's the Season of Discovery folks. Like, I feel like, it's kind of like in a Venn diagram. There's people that enjoy both, but there's also a good crowd that are separate here, right? Which kind of keeps it more self-contained. You're not, like, making it just easier. So basically, that just shifts the Cata pre-patch a bit. And then summer, they have the War Within, Cataclysm launch, and level 60. That's a lot of shit. So and then that's just like, that's part of summer. They have a summer autumn split too. My thought here, summer only. You do the pre-patch, you do the launch of Cataclysm, and you do the Season of Discovery level 60. That I feel is better, more breathing room. Whereas summer, here you currently have the War Within pre-patch, the Cataclysm launch, Season of Discovery level 60, but also summer can include the War Within launch, the 20th anniversary Cataclysm raids, and Season of Discovery endgame content. Which is quite a bit based off this. Okay, well, the endgame content, that's yeah. Anyways, and then here, because summer, autumn, honestly, to me, this translates into just fall. This is just fall. I don't believe them. To me, it's fall. So here, we make it simple. We just have the Cataclysm raids, the 20th anniversary, and the War Within pre-patch. That's pretty simple, self-contained. Cataclysm raids, I'll be honest, not a lot to focus on there. 20th anniversary, that's pretty cool. They usually don't do too much. Maybe like a raid or something. Quick, easy, done for both of these on the most part. Not a lot, not really time-consuming, enough for people to enjoy the pre-patch, right? And then the winter, you have the War Within launch. Okay, people are going to be invested in that for probably a good month at least. And then you also have the Season of Discovery endgame content. Honestly, I'd probably just push that into next year. Or not next year, the 2025. If it was me, because I feel like that people need more time on War Within. But yeah, so I guess to kind of sum it up, I am very excited for this. I'm just concerned as a casual player that... the stuff's coming too quickly to really enjoy it. And then I'm concerned because it's coming so quickly, there's going to be a drought in content. Honestly. Because Blizzard has a pretty shitty history when it comes to content droughts. Like, it's usually pretty bad, and it's pretty often. And it seems like they've kind of fixed it because they have so many different versions of World of Warcraft now. But... at the end of the day, all of them kind of have content droughts. Like right now, I feel like Wrath of the Lich King, it's been a couple months now with ICC, and they're coming out with Ruby Sanctum raid. I feel like Ruby Sanctum raid could have been delayed another month or two, Like, let people enjoy ICC because there's a lot of hardcore players that have already done that. But there's some casuals that are still working their way through it. No reason to be shoving another raid down people's throat in less than a month from now. But yeah, so I'm excited. I just wish they'd kind of spread it out a bit more, because I feel not only does it give us as players more breathing room, it gives the devs more breathing room. And honestly, I feel like it would be more cost effective for the company. I feel like Blizzard would make more money by just spreading things out just a little bit. You know, I'm not talking about like 6 months here and like content droughts. I'm like 2-3 months spread out. That way you can kind of bounce back and forth between different versions of the game if you want to check them out. And it's not like you're rushing from one game to the other to try to, like, the fear of missing out, right? Maybe seems to be what they're pushing, but it just should lead into a content drought and yada, yada, yada. I feel like I'm probably going to start repeating myself soon, so we're going to end it there. If you actually stuck around long enough to hear my rant, that's great. I appreciate it. I also welcome other opinions, or just, you know, if people want to make a comment about what they think, that would also be great. I'd be curious to see if I'm just crazy, or if this is something else other people have noticed or are concerned about. Anyways, thanks for listening to that. I'm going to transition to actually playing some Season of Discovery and trying to see how far I get on that today. Thank you. Alrighty, guys, so we're going to reconnect to the game now, since it logged me out. I'm going to take off this jacket because I am sweating my ass